Hey guys, what's up? Lightboltjoe here. Today we're going to discuss Captain America, the Winter Soldier. Came out April 4th, 2014, directed by Anthony and Joe Russo. This is the first Marvel film directed by the Russo brothers. The next being Captain America Civil War, Avengers Infinity War, and then Avengers Endgame. Now, these directors, these brothers, changed the scope of Marvel films with Winter Soldier. When Winter Soldier first came out, everyone watched it and we're like, it's 2 hours, 15 minutes long, and it's this intense spy movie. It's never been seen before within a Marvel film. Insane spy movie mixed with some Fast and Furious aspect mixed with a Marvel film. You start out the film with Captain America, Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow character. They're infiltrating a ship that S.H.I.E.L.D. is on to get information. Scarlett Johansson's character needed to get information. Steve had to just free some hostages. So then there's this little conflict between Cap and Nick Fury, Samuel L. Jackson's Nick Fury, because there wasn't full disclosure on missions, but Nick Fury was saying how Cap doesn't need to know everything, which is important because of the plot of this actual film. Anthony Mackie is introduced in this film as Falcon, who we first meet in the very beginning of this movie. Cap and Falcon are just running around doing laps, you know, around what's the place in DC? What's it called? Where the Smithsonian is? I don't know that area. Whatever mall that is. So that's our first introduction of Falcon. Then we go into Steve and Natasha are now figuring out that there are certain moles within S.H.I.E.L.D. that Hydra is actually infiltrated S.H.I.E.L.D. The way that they know this is because they went to a training center in Jersey where Steve actually trained for back in the 40s for World War II, and we see Dr. Zola's conscious is in some machinery that he tells them that Hydra has always infiltrated S.H.I.E.L.D. since the beginning, that it's always been that way. And then it's this whole big conspiracy revealed, basically, that, you know, everything that they knew was a lie. Not everything, but majority of everything. The other thing is Bucky Barnes is back as the Winter Soldier. So it's a matter of, how did Buck survive from the 40s? Well, Buck survived from the 40s because Zola experimented on him. That's where Cap first found him in Captain America, the First Avenger. That's how he survived that fall from that train, in order to then be experimented further, in order to get the metal arm that he has to become the Winter Soldier, to wipe his brain, to make him a weapon. Basically, that's Winter Soldier's objective. So eventually, as the movie progresses, you have Agent 13 introduced into it. You have Nick Fury being killed, but then not being killed. He kind of faked his death because he needed a way to have S.H.I.E.L.D. protected. So you have Black Widow, you have Falcon, you have Captain America, you have Agent Hill, you have Nick Fury, all sitting in a cave trying to figure out how to get S.H.I.E.L.D. back. And then Cap saying, no, you did this. Hydra and S.H.I.E.L.D. are one now. So it's now the downfall of everything. The downfall of everything is that there are 3 helicarriers now being put up into the sky to eradicate 20 million people deemed unworthy, quote unquote, of life because they're bad guys, quote unquote. So sacrifice 20 million people to save 7 billion people. That was Hydra's mentality. Director Pierce, played by Robert Redford, is one of the main Hydra leaders. So he has always infiltrated S.H.I.E.L.D. This is not his brainchild, but in a sense. We also have the origins of Crossbones brought into this, which is very important. So much happens within this film. So at the very end of the film, within the fight of everyone trying to, Scarlett Johansson's character is releasing all the information of both Hydra and S.H.I.E.L.D., compromising everyone, so that way the entire world knows that there's no more transparency. This is the lies that they've been fed for the last 50, 60, 70 years. Then you have Steve Rogers versus James Buchanan Barnes on board of a helicarrier, and at one of the very end battles between the two of them, Bucky is not he's processing that he might still know Steve from his past, but he doesn't want to believe it because he's just his mission. And at one point, Steve just drops his shield through the bottom of this window, and he looks at Bucky and he says, "Buck, you know me. I'm not fighting you. what does he say? I'm with you till the end, or something like that, till the end of the line. And that kind of like triggers a little bit of a memory, and another explosion happens. Steve falls into the water. Bucky is dangling, and he realizes that he might know Steve. He might know Steve from somewhere, and why. There's a deep emotional connection, and you see this bromance just unfolding. And it's super important. It's super important to have this dynamic between these characters, because you don't really have that with any of these other Marvel characters. Yes, you have your fun, hilarious moments, but this is like a deep emotional bond between these characters, and you see it and you get goosebumps, and it's just, these chills just come over you every time I watch it, because these are friends till the end. And the end is nowhere near for them because of how long they've been alive, because of how long they've been kept alive, because of all the experiments that have happened to them since the 40s up until present. So Bucky is the one who actually dives into the Potomac River, saves Steve, puts him on the shore, goes away. The final end credit scene, we see Bucky in the Smithsonian looking at a tribute to Bucky Barnes, trying to get his memory back. And then we'll see, obviously, what happens with Bucky in later films going down the road. Very important character. Winter Soldier is a very important character. His character arc, his story arc is very important, because he goes from protagonist to antagonist to protagonist, back and forth. Brilliant. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant design, along with his partner in crime. Ha, that rhymed. Captain America, Steve Rogers. Wonderful. So the end of the film, the 3 helicarriers are no more. Hydra and S.H.I.E.L.D.'s secrets are all exposed. Black Widow testifies in front of Congress saying, you're not going to arrest me because you need me, because we're all qualified to do the dirty work, basically. So everyone goes their separate ways. Nick Fury goes to Europe. Agent Hill is now part of Stark's Human Resources Division. Agent 13 is now in the CIA. So everyone does, spread out accordingly in an appropriate fashion. And then the last thing we see of Steve and Falcon is they're now going to try to find Bucky, to try to save Bucky, try to get Bucky back. And that's Captain America Winter Soldier. It is a thrill ride from beginning to end, 2 hours and 15 minutes long. Insane amount of detail and emotional aspects to this spy film. And the Russo brothers did a fantastic job. So for their first Marvel film, making so much money that it did, Captain America Civil War making so much money that it did, Avengers Infinity War making so much money that it did, and Avengers Endgame, which is already making so much money because it broke the internet when the tickets were released, this is the final conclusion of this Infinity Saga. And we have a lot of thanks to give to the Russo brothers for the genuine ingenuity that they created for giving us an emotional grab within these films, within these Marvel films. Yes, previous Marvel films did have emotional grab, but nothing like this Bucky and Steve connection. This is first. This is a first that we've seen of this. This bromance is very important within the plots of future Marvel films. Super important, especially in Civil War, which we'll discuss at a later time after I rewatch it. What did you guys think of Winter Soldier? I know Chris Evans has said a couple times that his favorite captain suit is from the beginning of Winter Soldier. The whole stealth black suit that he wears in the beginning when he's saving the hostages. That's his favorite suit. And it's a pretty badass suit, too. It's very stealth. It's very cool. What do you guys think of Winter Soldier? Let's discuss it. Mucho mahalo, guys.